Hang on, let me do something real quick. There we go. Hiya, and welcome back to Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. What is a thing that we can say about it? Oh, hello. What is a thing that we can say about Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn? Oh god, I need to, adjust this. There we go. Hiya! What is something that we can say about this game that has not already been said that is also kind of funny? Okay. Let me get on Twitter real quick. Hold up. Hold up. Let me look at that. I will never be able to unsee that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I will never be able to unsee that. Anyways, let's just jump right in. Oh god, that's loud. The following morning, having stealthily... It's still in my head. It's still in my head! The following morning, having stealthily returned the $200 via the pocket of a freshly paired laundered work pants whose owner was otherwise preoccupied in the shower, myself and said owner would receive an invitation to join Axel and Dom for morning dipping in the nearby river. At the time, my calendar was completely clear, and consequently, I agreed to participate. Diego was found to be a touch more reluctant, although out of his own chronic laziness more than anything else. Yeah, I just read that. Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's like basic humaning, I think. Just basic existing. Be evil. Don't be an asshole. Nonetheless, he would eventually agree to attend, and together we traveled a short distance to our meeting place. Eric, you have made me so much so anxious. Hey guys, I'm so happy you came. Morning, you two. Fine day for a swim, eh? Dunno about you two, but these past few mornings have been getting kinda chilly. We definitely ain't in summer no more. Pah, once you're in the water, you'll come right in no time. Come on, let's go! Oh hey, you go on ahead, Axel. There's something I want to talk to Aiden about. Uh-oh? What is it? Oh, it's okay. I just wanted his advice on the lease agreement. Whoa, you know about that stuff, Aiden? I didn't. But something about Dom's delivery implied that it wasn't the real reason he wished to speak with me. Catching the hint, I played along with Dom's ruse. Oh my god! It took me a minute to realize, but yeah, it took me a minute to realize, but oh my god, there it is. I can never unsee that. Sure thing, I can help with that. Huh? Leases? You moonlighting as a lawyer or something, Aiden? Dom's face conveyed a sense of mild irritation. His buff clearly not intended for Diego, but having worked on him nonetheless. I wondered to myself how difficult life must be for someone so consistently gullible. That sort of stuff is so confusing. Come join me in the river when you're done. Axel beamed widely at the three of us before turning tail and happily bounding his way down the riverbank towards the water. I don't know how much use I'll be. I've only ever signed one lease, not counting the dorms, though. I'll try help you out, though. I don't think that's actually what he wants to talk about, Diego. Eh? But he just... Correct, Aiden. Looks like Ty's infamous perception is rubbing off on you. Huh. Huh. What's this about, then? Dom's body language suggested some hesitation on his part before he finally spoke up. Aiden, does Diego know about that thing we talked about the other day at work? You mean Spencer? Yeah, we've talked about it. Turns out Spencer visited Ty's bar a whole bunch. Really? Good to know. Then I suppose it would be best if you heard what I had to say too, Diego. Huh? Found something out about that guy? Oh, no. What the fuck? What the hell? Okay, something just happened. Okay, that was weird. Yeah. That was really weird. I guess the power cut off in here. Or something. Let me take a look. Fuck, my PS4 turned off. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to check something real quick. Yeah, the thing that basically powered this whole setup, I don't know where at, but something fucking died. It's all up now. Yeah. Y'all didn't see anything, but I saw it. It was horrible. It was awful. Well, no. That itself is something worth discussing. I don't get it. Then allow me the opportunity to explain, and perhaps you will. But before we proceed, I need to ask you guys a favor. Sure thing. What do you need from us? Don't tell Axel any of what I'm about to tell you. He knows I have something of a tendency to obsess over things like this, and, well... Dom sighed, rubbing the bridge of his nose between his thumb and forefinger as he determined the best words to complete his sentence. Look, just don't, okay? Can you promise me that? Now I'm wondering just what kind of shit you've gotten yourself into, but alright, Axel doesn't have to know. I scratched my chin. I too found myself curious, most curious indeed. Especially if it was Axel who was expected to keep Dom on the leash for a change. I didn't like agreeing to something like this without knowing more information, but I had no other leads on Spencer. Alright then, I promise I won't tell Axel a thing. Now fill us in. What's the big idea? So a few years back I did some courses at Woodcrest University. One of my assignments was a paper on the founding of Woodcrest. Figured I'd be a sure bet, what with the university having access to much of the city digital archives. I never knew you studied history. It was actually for English class. The overall objective of the assignment was more about the writing, research, and references, and less about the actual subject at hand. If I recall, it just had to be about some historical event. So that's what I chose. So it's like I said, access to the CDA? Surely a paper like that was going to be a cinch, right? Well, that's just it. A ton of the material was inaccessible to the university. I chalked it up to somebody screwing up during the whitelisting process. It was the most obvious conclusion. So I put in a request for someone to whitelist those archives. And you know what? Not only did I not hear back, but after a week or so, the ticket just disappeared from the system. So I'd already wasted a week, and clearly I couldn't rely on the IT team to get things sorted, so... Dom paused, briskly glancing from side to side like some kind of wacky cartoon villain. Whatever he was about to tell us, he didn't want anybody else to be any the wiser. Satisfied that our privacy remained intact, but still cautious nonetheless, Dom leaned closer, finishing a sentence in a hushed tone. I found the back door. Eh? A back door to what? The uni? No, to the system. The CDA. But ain't that like a computer thing? Dom sighed, clearly having overestimated Diego's level of technical literacy. A mildly exasperated Diego continued his story, this time facing more in my direction, a statement affirming his intended audience. Yes, you see, the tech they were using for this system was positively antiquated, almost as old as I was, in fact. And it was just riddled with security problems. Don't you just love government complacency? So I did my research and found an unpatched exploit that granted me temporary admin privileges. I used those privileges to create an account with greater access rights than the university, but not so powerful that it would stand out in their database. It blended right in with several hundred local government workers. It was perfect. Whoa, are you like some kind of hacker? No, and that's the most embarrassing part. I was just some whiz kid. I had no idea what I was doing. All the information I needed to break in was easily accessible on the internet. Anyway, I looked up the files I needed to. Lo and behold, I couldn't see any good reason why access would be restricted. And well, I got a little too into the whole process, not really thinking if I could if I couldn't legitimately access those files. I certainly couldn't cite them in an assignment. Long story short, I switched topics and scraped through with the B+. Not bad, congratulations, but I have to ask, I know what you're going to say. What does any of this have to do with Spencer, right? We're getting to it, I promise. So the other night, after Spencer showed up at Lucas's and spooked you so bad you fell off your chair, I was racking my brain for how I might find out more about the dude. That's when I remembered my account in the CDA. Aiden, you fell out of your chair? I did, and you would have too, waking up to someone like that. So what I did was visit the university. You see, you can only access the CDA via their secure domain, so I just waltzed onto campus, pretended I was a student, even brought a backpack with me to really sell the act. Then I wafted around the library like a bad smell, waiting for someone to leave a station without logging out. The auto logout kicks in pretty quickly, so I had to be quick. Thankfully, I secured a station and made a connection to the CDA. After all these years, the account still worked. They'd patched all the security loopholes and updated their systems, and yet there my account was, exactly how I'd left it. I honestly expected it would have been purged as part of a security audit or something, but I suppose that was too much to expect from government, right? Of course, I couldn't just rock up to university anytime I wanted access, so I worked my magic and exploited a server on the university network. I could now connect to my own private user session remotely. When will these organizations learn? So the long and short of it, probably more for your benefit, Aiden, is that I can now access the Woodcrest CDA from anywhere there's an internet connection. And this is a fantastic resource to have when it comes to finding out about, well, people like Spencer, I suppose. It all sounds kind of dangerous, man. Probably super illegal, too. Illegal, sure, but it's only dangerous if they find out. And they won't find out. Believe me, my tracks are covered. If you say so, dude, but this ain't worth no big risks. Trust me, it's all under control. There's nothing for you to worry about. Guys! Our attention was captured by Axel, who was frantically waving his arms to try and draw our focus. Having succeeded in his goal, he called out to us once again. Come on, the water's great! Won't be long, Axel. We're almost done. Dawn called back to Axel, buying us some more time for a conversation as Axel grinned and disappeared beneath the surface of the water. So, you said that you'd looked already, right? Did you find anything? So far, practically zilch. Damn. But you see, that doesn't make any sense. First of all, these sort of contacts Lucas gets from him are bizarre. Diego, remember a few months how we were printing and mailing water safety flyers? Oh yeah, one addressed to every single house and business in Woodcrest. There were so many that Ty gave me time off to help Lucas out instead. Not that I was much help. Makes a good case for avoiding relationships in the workplace, doesn't it? Asshole was sneering at me from across the room the entire day. Anyway, sorry, off topic, I know. Don't sweat it. What I'm trying to make is that, isn't that something the government themselves should be handling? You'd think so. Maybe Spencer has some kind of association with the town's water supply or something like that. I thought the same thing, so I did my research. Turns out it's totally state-owned and there's nobody called Spencer who oversees it in any way. Another thought I considered was that he could be some kind of private contractor. But again, there's nobody like that on the books. Nothing whatsoever that relates to him. No receipts, remittance, contracts, nothing. There's not a single mention of him anywhere. And even if he was part of the government himself, there'd be some trace of him. That's super weird, huh? That's not even the worst part. I punched all our names in, and we all have records in the CDA. Me, Axel, even you, Aiden. Me? What sort of information do they have on me? To be completely fair, very little. Some basic identity stuff. Tax filings from Lucas and Ty, that was pretty much it. But you see, that's still one hell of a lot more than Spencer has. The name Spencer comes up a lot over a long period of time. There's at least a few dozen people living here with that name, and the only thing that I could find that could feasibly be our guy was a newspaper article about the combat tournament. Excluding that, he's a ghost. Dude, what the hell is going on? That makes no sense. How long do you think Spencer might have been in Woodcrest for? Long enough to have quite a comprehensive record, at least. I first spotted him myself about a year back when he started giving Lucas those contracts. Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure he was around when I started at Ty's, or maybe he started visiting shortly after. It was a while after that my raptor problem started, so maybe a bit over a year for me. And that article I mentioned, about that tournament, dated 3 years ago now. Beyond that, the article doesn't tell us anything new. It's a complete waste of time. Damn, so what are you thinking? We hit a dead end? No, not necessarily. I'm not ready to give up just yet, but there has to be some shred of information that I'm missing. Some seemingly irrelevant thing that blows this case wide open. There just has to be. Wish I could help, dude. A few times I've seen him, he's mostly kept to himself and not said anything much to me. Guy definitely has more money than sense, though. What kind of dude drinks $3,000 bottles of whiskey? Worse yet, we didn't even stock top shelf until Spencer started swinging by. And now that we have a whole bunch, Bastard almost never visits us no more. Who the hell else is going to drink that overpriced crap? In all fairness, that seems like an irresponsible spending decision on Ty's part more than anything else. Yeah, I guess. Only other thing I can think of is that Ty would quite often take him out back into his office. Doors locked behind them too. Whatever was going on in there, they didn't want anybody knowing about. In that moment, I suddenly recalled Diego having listened in on my conversation with Ty only days prior. Surely, if he knew about that trick already, he'd have done so on Spencer's visits as well. Diego, the vents, did you ever listen in? Dude, you're gonna hate me, but Ty only got that new system installed a couple of months back. Yeah? I swear to God, this is like Five Nights at Freddy's level lore. Dude, you're gonna hate me, but I only got that new system installed a couple of months back. Old one crapped the bed in the middle of summer. That was a real sweaty few days, let me tell you. The old system we had didn't have any outlets on the side of the building, only up top on the roof. I've only seen Spencer once since, and I couldn't leave the counter. There were queues. So you literally only listened in to my conversations then. Hey, I'd have breached their privacy too if I could have. This sounds like a bit of a story. Yeah, Diego's just sticking his nose in other people's business. I suppose it's karma for you. Ty has a reputation for doing the same, so no clue on what the two might have discussed then. Sorry dude, I got nothing. But if you ask me, he's up to something real shady. Secret conversations behind locked doors, lots of money, enough sway over Ty to have him order expensive-ass booze. I mean, just look at the guy. He even looks like a cartoon villain. He certainly has a distinctive appearance, but then again, that is true for most ravens, although I can't say I've seen many with red eyes like that. And the other stuff you mentioned? Shit, you might have a point. I even asked Ty about Spencer the other day. He got all cagey all of a sudden. Wouldn't tell me shit. It's just gotta be something shady. It only makes perfect sense, right? I simply do not feel we have enough information to go on just yet. We cannot possibly know for sure, but it is something worth keeping in mind. I don't suppose you guys have heard of the surname, an age or date of birth, anything? Sorry, Dom, not a thing. Same boat. Sorry, dude. He looks pretty young, though. Can't be older than 20-something, right? It's kind of hard to tell with Corvids. I doubt we will make any more progress without thinking outside the box. I'll dwell on it some more and let you know if I figure anything out. Thanks, but I'm curious. Why go to such lengths? Ever since Spencer first showed up, something just didn't feel right. Here he is, giving contracts he shouldn't rightly have access to while surrounded by such secrecy. I was worried for Lucas. Still am. And now, I'm worried for Ty, too. It's been a good while, and nothing bad has happened yet. At least that I know of. But I guess that's only made me more curious. I have to know. Yeah, I'm with you. The curiosity might well kill me at this rate. Thanks, Dom, and good luck. I hope you find something. You and me both. Hey, come on, I'm lonely out here. Three of us spun in place to face Axel, who appeared at least mildly frustrated this time around. Luckily for him, we discussed everything we could and had no excuse to hold out on poor Axel any longer. Well then, ready to get wet? Hell yeah, let's get moist. I shot Diego a look of sullen disappointment, chastising him over his vivid use of vocabulary. His subsequent laughter seemed to confirm that not only had he expected such a response, but was outright hoping for it. With a sigh, I joined formation with Diego as we began tearing our clothes from our bodies like a pair of cheap strippers, finally adorned with nothing but our swimwear. We made a beeline towards the shore in order to join our companions in the water. Ah, fuck. Holy shit. So cold. I think my nuts just shot up into my belly. Oh, come on, you big baby. It isn't that cold. You'll It'll clip. You'll acclimatize. Just need to give it a few minutes. Huh? Your nuts did what, Diego? As much as I hated to admit, I was with Diego on this one. The water was as cold as ice, and my very own gonads, not like Diego's, were huddled tightly against my body in a desperate effort to stave off hypothermia. I took several deep breaths, trying in vain to bring my violent shivering back under control. You too, huh? Yup. Serves you right. You're the one who insisted this was a good idea. I thought it'd be fun. You didn't have to come. But I did, and now my poor nuts are gonna freeze off. That's your fault. You ought to get down there and help warm them up. Okay, 1, that's hella gay, man. 2, find yourself a boyfriend and have him warm your damn nuts. Psh, I just want my balls thawed out, not all the baggage that comes with it. I'm so confused. What's happening? What's happening is this husky bastard is going to be solely responsible for there being Hang on. What's happening is this husky bastard is going to be solely responsible for there being no little Diegos running around.
Self-voicing enabled. Diego, what's happening is this husky bastard is going to be solely responsible for there being no little Diegos running around. Self-voicing disabled.
Oh really? Are you sure that's the reason? Or maybe you just love dick too much? Speak for yourself, I bet. Ahem. Interrupted by Dom, ever the mature older sibling of the group, we turn to face our judgment and shame. I'd like to take this opportunity to point out that neither of you are shivering anymore. But he's right! Well, what do you know? Maybe there will be little Diegos running around after all, eh? Nah, you're right about one thing. I don't want to read that, so I'm just... Ah, fuck.
Self-voicing enabled. Diego, nada. You were right about one thing. My love for dick is insatiable. Day 11. Wet. Self-voicing disabled.
I fucking love the self-voicing. Guys? Don't worry about it, Axel. They're just being immature. No, I mean, look! Axel pointed somewhere downstream as the three of us turned to follow his direction, and in unison, we all knew exactly what we had seen. Okay, I think the chill might have gotten to my brain, y'all, because I'm seeing some shit. Unfortunately, for us all, Diego was not experiencing hypothermic hallucinations. On the contrary, we each bore witness to this very same impossibility. Is that a fucking shark? Oh, hell no, nuh-uh. I ain't nobody's frozen meal. Diego was the first to flee, desperately and clumsily skipping through the water towards the shore without so much as a momentary glance behind him. I'm too young to die! The second to break formation was Axel, whose impeccable swimming technique resulted in promptly overtaking Diego and arriving at the shore in short order. And yet, Dom seemed completely calm and totally collected. Not only was he not fleeing like the others, but instead seemed entirely unbothered by the dramatic turn of events. You too, huh? I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure there's a good reason you're still here. Maybe I'm counting on your judgment here, and we're both about to become shark bait. I do sincerely hope you are joking right now. Luckily for you, that's exactly what I'm doing, and lucky for us both, this is a freshwater river with no viable access to the sea. We don't have freshwater sharks in this part of the world. The time to flee had long passed as a single fin swam in circles around our position. Despite Dom's confidence, I couldn't help but ponder. If that isn't a shark, then what the hell is it? Oh, it's definitely a shark. Excuse me? Just not the kind you're thinking. And do you want to learn something else while you're here? While we're here? Sure. They hate it when you smack them in the nose. Dom raised his fist and waited for the fin to circle back around closer to his position. He yelled ready as the shark completed its loop, and then Dom's clenched fist penetrated the surface of the water with a loud splash, and subsequent sound confirming its collision with something soft. Subsequently, the creature ceased its movement, sitting limply in the water for several moments before finally its owner burst forth from the below. We've already been over this. Hey, Fox dude, what's, like, the big idea? Dom looked decidedly proud of himself when he turned to face Diego and Axel, delivering a sarcastic grin coupled with a somewhat sardonic shrug. Diego appeared at least somewhat embarrassed by his dramatic exit while Axel looked up at him with mild annoyance, as though his own exit was explicitly influenced by Diego's only moments before. Perhaps it was... Oh no, he's hot! Perhaps more interesting again, however, was when Axel returned his gaze to the so-called aquatic predator. Following a brief pause, his expression suddenly shifted to one conveying surprise and recognition. My attention, however, quickly returned to Dom, who had finally taken the time to respond to the question asked by him by the new arrival. You first. What were you trying to do exactly? Scare tourists? Sorry, my dude. It wasn't you I was trying to spook. Really now. One of these days, someone is going to give you so much more than a smack on the nose. I know, it's certainly my bad, dude. I apologize, profusely, man. The water is, kinda murky. I couldn't make you all out so good. It's like I said, I wasn't going for you. Then who are you going for? Russell? Is that you? Hey, Axe. Spotted those cute spots of yours from a mile off. Wow! I can't believe it's you. What are you doing in Woodcrest? How did you find us? I live here, my dude. Just moved up, actually, and, totally makes sense we'd run into each other swimming. It's still, totally amazing luck I found you so quickly. Guys, this is Russell. We were best friends back in school, and we're in the swimming club together. Russ, these are my friends, Dom, Diego, and Aiden. Russell held his hand out to each of us. Diego and I shook without hesitation, while Dom seemed somewhat more reluctant, still in a sour mood over Russell's dramatic arrival. Finally succumbing to the pressure from those around him, Dom reached out and shook the shark's hand. It's good to meet you, my dudes. Sorry for the scare. I just, wanted to make a totally memorable entrance. It all turned out fine in the end, right? I'm just glad it didn't become lunch. That's, super tempting and all, but I was thinking of fixing myself up a sandwich or something when I get home. Oh, Dom, did you bring spares? Huh? I mean, I always bring spares when Diego's coming. Russ, you've gotta try one of Dom's sandwiches. They're the best. Can you have one, Dom, please? Dom was doing a poor job of concealing his irritation, his scowl acting as a definitive indication of his overall mood. Although for reasons I couldn't quite grasp, it seemed as though he was taking the situation a little worse than usual. Fine. We were about to stop for lunch anyway. Let's head to shore. What? We can't eat them in the water? That's totally the best place to eat sandwiches, my dude. Man, the new place has this totally dope spa bath. I fill it with bubbles, a floating cheese platter, light some scented candles. Dude, I'm kinda impressed. That's somehow both the gayest and laziest thing I've heard in a while. More dudes just need to discover the joy of pampering themselves. The stigma is, totally sad, man. Whoa, dude, these are, incredible, man. Did you make these yourself, dude? Huh. Oh yeah, I did. They're Axel's favorites, so... Right on, Axe. I think they might be mine, too. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Axe, before I forget, you totally up and ghosted me, dude. What gives? No, I didn't! I mean... Dom and I were checking out one of the abandoned mines west of town, and, I tripped. My phone fell from my pocket and went down a crevice. Axel sniffled a little, feeling bad for having lost contact with his close friend. I had to get a new phone. All my contacts and everything were still on the old one. I even lost my number. I was on prepaid, so I didn't have an account. It's okay, Axel. I'm sure he understands. And for what it's worth, Russell, I can vouch for him. There was no way to get to where it fell, and that was assuming it had even survived the drop. Don't worry, Axe. I'm just giving you grief. I knew it must have been something like that, and you falling over. So totally predictable, little dude. Forever tripping over your feet. Axel is nothing if he isn't notoriously clumsy. Hey! Dogs are being weird. Back when he used to live in Somerville, we'd often go out camping and walking together. It wouldn't be a camping trip if Axel hadn't tripped himself up. Sounds like not a whole lot has changed since he moved to Woodcrest. I don't fall over every time. Just most of the time. Both Dom and Russell broke into shared laughter as Axel appeared somewhat frustrated and mildly upset that he'd become the butt of the joke. It was an interesting twist of events, but it seemed as though Dom and Russell, despite having a rough start, were bonding with one another exceptionally well. Relax, little dude, we're laughing with you, not at you. I'll, set you up with my number again soon, my dude. This time just promise you'll save it to the cloud. How do I... It's okay, Axel. I'll show you how. Oh! That is why I press Shift-Tab. Nothing! Shift-O? Nothing! Thanks. As though our discussion around cell phones had somehow caught the attention of mine, I heard it begin to ring from the small pile of previously discarded clothing that sat close by. Picking it up, I felt a sudden swarm of butterflies take flight as I laid eyes on a perfect photo of my handsome caller. I sat for a few moments, smiling stupidly at Ty's face before finally answering the call and holding the phone up to my ear. It would seem the most handsome tiger in Woodcrest is calling. To what do I owe the pleasure? Goodness me, and here I was expecting a simple hello. I hope I didn't disappoint. Very much on the contrary, my dear. Such kind words from someone so perfect as you. My heart has been set alight. But passionate flirtations aside, how's the day been treating you, Aiden? Great. Diego and I are down at the river with Axel and Dom. Ran into one of Axel's old friends purely by chance. I see. How terrific. And what about yours? I hope you aren't working away like always. Quite well, thank you for asking. Although I must inquire, how would you like an opportunity to make it even better? I would love to. What did you have in mind? Well, I'm sure you recall that I promised to bring you camping. I know this may be short notice, but how does today sound? Today? Sure thing. I can be ready in not too long if that suits you. Wonderful. Now would you like to bring some friends along? The more the merrier, I say. Tell them not to worry about food and camping supplies. Just bring tents and sleeping bags. Everything else I will organize myself. Oh, and please do apologize to Diego on my behalf. I haven't rostered on this evening. I really must hire more staff. Oh, sure thing. I'm sure he'll understand, but I'll pass it on anyway. Wonderful. Well, you and I may be well ready in short order, but there is no guarantee our guests will be. How about we agree to meet at 1 in the afternoon to allow them plenty of time? Good thinking, Ty. That sounds great. Wonderful. I simply cannot wait for you to see where we are headed. A spot so breathtaking you will hardly believe your eyes. Can't be quite as breathtaking as you are, though. Oh my, you sure know how to make this old tiger's heart race. But you know perfectly well my looks do not compare to your own. Now you shut the hell up. I will fight you on this. Very well. I would simply loathe someone so gorgeous playing rough with me. I see little choice but to concede. But there's plenty of time for such bickering in person, is there not? We should both be focused on our preparations. Great, see you later on. I can't wait. My anticipation similarly knows no bounds. Until then, Aiden. I ended the call with a charmed smile and returned my phone to my pile of belongings. Looking towards the group, all eyes were locked on me with a mixture of expressions shared among the group. Both Russell and Dom seemed entertained by the banter, judging by their wide and toothy smiles. Axel, on the other hand, was blushing intensely. It seemed as though he found the exchange kind of sweet. And Diego? Well, he was smirking, no doubt waiting for his opportunity to tease me over some minor detail. And I didn't have to wait long to find out what the detail would be. That sounded like a breathtaking call. Oh, shut your face, Diego. You're just mad I'm sleeping with your boss. What? I'm not. Oh, ouch. Yep, the money war is still going on. Diego scowled, no doubt a touch salty over the comeback. I was admittedly at least a little proud of. Alas, I wouldn't have time to bask in that pride before Axel chipped in on the conversation. That's kind of cute. You two are so sweet. I'm glad you think so. Poor Diego looks like he's about to be sick. Nuh-uh. Oh, hey, Diego, that reminds me. What? Ty wanted to say he's sorry that you have to work today. Eh? What do you mean? He has me work most days. What makes today any different? I guess the fact that we're going camping, and it's an open invitation to anybody who wants to come with us. Serious? Man, I've heard about the kinds of camping trips Ty goes on. Do you have any... do you have any idea how much chafing I'd have to put up with? Besides, having to listen to you two lovebirds sing the whole time? No thanks. I think I'd rather be working. Well, I'm glad you're taking it so well then. Wait, you said today, right? Yep, we're meeting up at 1 p.m. And anybody can come? Would you like to, Axel? Ooh, yes please, I'd love to. That sounds like so much fun. Great, what about the rest of you guys? Any takers? Sorry, Aiden, I wish I could, but Lucas needs all hands on deck right now, what with the tournament and all. Come to think of it, I was wondering why your name was crossed off on today's roster. Guess Ty must have cashed in a favor to get you off. Diego failed to suppress an immature snicker. No doubt amused by Dom's less than ideal decision in using the words get you off. Tournament? Are you talking about, like, the combat tournament that's happening soon? The very same. Hey, small world, my dude. I'm participating in that. Whoa, Russ, I didn't know you could fight. That's just it, little dude. I don't. But I thought it might be, like, totally fun anyway. You can't just join a fighting tournament without knowing how to fight. You might get hurt. Don't stress, Axe. It's all in good fun, and I've been, wondering about a whole bunch of leading up to the heats. What do you think I was doing in the water before I spotted you guys? Ooh, I know, you should come camping too. You'll get heaps of exercise that way, right? Totally, man, and give us, loads of time to catch up. All of a sudden, Russell went silent. His face fell a touch before he turned to me, bearing a humble yet hopeful expression as he asked me the question that had him concerned. Only if Aiden here says I'm welcome, though, dude. I know I, just showed up and all. I would hate to, intrude or anything. As Russell asked, I noticed a look of concern on Axel's face, no doubt as interested in the idea as Russell seemed to be. Thankfully, I saw no good reason whatsoever to not invite Russell on. Is this going to be like one of those situations where it's and nothing can go wrong? Oh no, it all went wrong! I'd only known him for a very short time, but he seemed to be a perfectly nice guy and a natural fit for our friend group. Not to mention that I trusted Axel, and by extension could only trust Russell as well. Of course you can, Russell. It's not like some fancy romantic outing or anything. We're just spending some quality time together. It'd be a great chance to get to know you. Oh, thanks, dude. You're the best. Can't wait to get to know you, dudes. Hear that, Axe? We're going camping. It'll be just like old times. Yeah, can't wait. We can make a campfire, and we can tell stories. Ooh, we should bring marshmallows. Totally, dude. We could even, sing songs and stuff like we used to as kids. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Axel fall on his face. I don't know why, but people falling is just hilarious. The two of them gradually grew more and more carried away, excitedly bouncing ideas between themselves and building up an excess of hype. Despite this, I couldn't help but notice that Dom's expression had soured somewhat since he'd last spoken. Feeling a little bad for him, I left Axel and Russell grappling with their mutual excitement and walked over to him, putting my arm around his shoulder. I'm sorry, Dom. Next time I'll make sure we plan this sort of thing further in advance so you can come with us. Oh. It's not that. Don't worry about it. Then what is it? Clearly there's something on your mind. Maybe I can help? Nah, it's fine. I'm just being silly, that's all. If you really want me to, I'll drop it, but you can tell me, you know? I won't judge. Oh, Dom looked over towards Axel and Russell, who were still excitedly chattering away between themselves. This had Diego distracted, who was watching closely, occasionally picking on their word choices and slipping in inappropriate jokes. This is going to sound a little bad, but Axel used to talk about Russell a lot. To be honest, it kind of made me a bit jealous. He has a lot of fond memories of their time together, and well, I kind of felt like I was some kind of replacement. Now, I'm just worried a little is all. Axel is, he's really important to me. And with Russell here, I guess I'm a little scared, there's just a knot in my gut or something. I smirked slightly. Thankfully, Diego hadn't been present to derail the moment with such a perfect opportunity for innuendo. You don't have anything to worry about, Dom. You and Axel are as thick as thieves. Besides, you can have more than one best friend. You know that, right? Well, you see, maybe Dom avoided eye contact, fidgeting with his feet and mincing his words. He was embarrassed by something, and I knew exactly what that thing was. Hey, he's quite a catch, right? It's only natural you would feel that way. I understand, but they're just friends, right? I think so. Axel's never said anything that suggests otherwise. Perfect, and I'm sure you've noticed the way that Axel looks at you. Huh? What do you mean? You seriously haven't noticed? You gotta pay more attention. All I am saying is, you really ought to try your luck one of these days. I really don't think you'll be disappointed that you did. You really think so? I do, so relax. There's nothing to worry about. Would you mind keeping an eye out anyway, just in case? You know, when you're all out camping? I probably can't be watching them 24/7, but I promise I'll keep an eye out for you, if only to prove my point. Thanks, I really appreciate it. I guess this will make us even for the research doing, huh? I wasn't planning on keeping score, but if this whole thing pans out, you've got a lifetime of research pro bono. Careful I don't hold you to that. Dom smiled, his concerns mostly laid to rest. I hadn't known about his feelings for Axel, but they hardly came as any surprise. It would be interesting to see how things proceed between them in the days and weeks to come. Having said all that needed to be said, the two of us rejoined the others, little having changed in the conversation since I'd departed. And we could even build makeshift huts from loose wood and stuff. We'd totally be like men of the woods, dude. Yeah, men of nature, all wild, surrounded by so much untamed bush. I looked over at Diego, who was... I looked over at Diego, who was practically rolling around on the floor in uncontrollable laughter, some very real tears running down his fuzzy cheeks. Hey guys, I hate to spoil your fun, but should you not be getting a move on? You've got bags to pack. Oh, you're right. Hey, Aiden, where are we supposed to meet? Outside Ty's house. It's close by, actually. I'm gonna send you the address. Sorry. It's Diego. It's fucking Diego. Which way are you two headed? My house is about 10 minutes downstream from here. Wow, mine too. And Dom's is super close by. We can all head that way together. Sounds fun, little dude. Dom, you coming too? Dom smiled at Russell, showing no further signs of his insecurity. Of course, I really should be getting ready for work. Lead the way. The three of them waved at myself and Diego, who was only now finding the composure to pick himself off the ground. The three of them gradually grew smaller and smaller before turning a bend and disappearing behind a large tree situated on the side of the river. Bah, Dom just had to remind me that I have work soon too. Covering for my boss and my best friend so they can rub their butts together in the middle of the forest, what does my life come to? Not likely. Ty and I are taking it slow, remember? Yeah, so what are you gonna do then? Ty said he would bring everything that I need, so I guess it's just a matter of me killing time until then. You sure you don't want to bring a change of clothes or something? I think we're only going for one night, and what's the point in clean clothes if I end up sweaty anyway? You could always wash in a river or something. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass, thanks. I'm sure we'll be fine. Guess I can't blame you. Your balls can only take so much abuse, right? Yep, I think I'm gonna head into town for a bit, run some errands, kill some time. Alright, dude. I was about to head home and get ready for work anyway. Have fun, don't get too much chafing. I laughed as I waved goodbye to Diego, turning away and walking in the opposite direction to where everybody else had gone. Recalling my commitment to Axel, I took out my phone and messaged him Ty's address as I walked. With that said and done, I carried on into Woodcrest, pondering how I could burn several hours before I would be expected at Ty's. Several hours had now passed since Ty had called, and accordingly, I had arrived outside his house at the agreed time. I leaned against his car that was parked out front, ready to take us on our adventure as I sent Ty a message informing him of my arrival. A minute or so went by before the sound of his front door caught my focus. Through it, a casually dressed and unreasonably muscular tiger emerged with two large hiking packs held in each hand, his arms flexing slightly in response to their no doubt considerable weight. Fuck. Fuck.
Daddy. 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 Daddy.
A very good afternoon. Excited to go camping? His words broke my trance as I wiped a small glob of drool from my lower lip. I had only been in his presence for a mere matter of seconds. And was already falling prey to his sexy, sexy spells. I'm going camping at the flipping beach. Father apologies, father apologies, father apologies, father apologies. Definitely. I haven't had much of an opportunity to see the sights of Woodcrest yet. This sounds far too good to pass up, especially in such great company. Dear oh dear, you always must flatter me so. Tell me, are my eyes playing tricks on me, or is that a shark I see approaching us? I turned in place to see both Axel and Russell arriving at their destination with truly impeccable timing. Hey Aiden, afternoon Ty. It is as wonderful as ever to see you, Axel. I must say, I greatly anticipate an opportunity for us to spend some time together in a non-professional context for once. Yep, especially seeing as we have so many mutual friends. Indeed, and speaking of, I don't believe your toothy friend and I have met. Name's Russell. It's like, great to meet you, my dude. Russell offered his hand, which Ty eagerly accepted, the two shaking in commemoration of their introduction. I'm like a childhood friend of Axel's. We grew up together in Somerville. I just moved here this week. I am so very pleased to meet you, Russell. I am very much looking forward to getting to know you. Goodness knows we will have plenty of time to do so. Same goes, my dude. I'm meeting so many cool new faces, and here I was thinking I'd be, like, lonely here or something. That is wonderful to hear. Now, if you are all ready, I think it is high time we make a start on our journey. We have many hours of walking to do before we reach our campsite, and we simply must arrive while daylight remains. I take it you didn't pack torches then? Oh, believe me, I've come prepared. I simply hope we will not have to use them is all. Besides, I have other reasons, for which you will just have to be patient. Ooh, how mysterious. I think we know exactly what he's talking about. We know exactly what the fuck he's talking about. I suppose it wouldn't be a camping trip with Ty if he wasn't keeping a few tricks up his sleeves. I sighed quietly to myself before turning back to Ty with a smile. Ready when you are, Ty. Then away we go. Opening the trunk of his car revealed a variety of camping goods, of which Ty had us divide up between each of our 4 packs to ensure each of us would be carrying their fair share. The 4 of us then got on board and buckled our seatbelts. Ty then started the engines, and we finally began our journey as Ty drove across both bridges, passing through the main drag of Woodcrest, and then proceeding north until dense forest surrounded us in every direction. After 10 minutes or so, Ty parked up on a patch of loose gravel off to the side of the road. We then disembarked, throwing our packs over our shoulders and following Ty as he led us toward a long and winding eastbound path, which led us away from the road and out into the thick wilderness. Well then, gentlemen, we have a long walk ahead of us. I do hope your packs aren't too heavy. I adjusted the straps, trying to balance the weight in such a way that would reduce the load on my shoulders. It seemed as though Ty may have slightly overestimated my capacity. Not wanting to disappoint him, however, I gave him a confident thumbs up. Just right, thanks. I'm ready when you are. Me too. Right on, ready to go. Axel's going to fucking die. He's going to fucking die. He is not going to live much longer. Excellent, then let us be on our way. The 4 of us began the adventure in earnest, trudging along the dirt path in an orderly fashion with Ty at the helm. The forests surrounding us were alive with the sounds of wildlife, juxtaposed by the foreign sounds of our voices as we struck up conversation to help pass the time. Dude, this place is totally beautiful. Somerville is like totally boring by comparison, man. Indeed, in my opinion, there are few places more beautiful than Woodcrest on this entire continent. I take it you are glad that you moved here then, Russell? Oh, totally. It seems like super cool here so far. And I ran into Axel. Things couldn't be off to a better start. You mentioned the 2 of you were childhood friends, did you not? How did the 2 of you first meet? Did you become friends right away? Yep, so like, we both went to the same school and we're in the same years. Even shared classes a couple of times early on when we were like super young. In Somerville, yes, the two of you were born there. That's right, dude. Lived there my whole life too. Well, until a couple of days ago. Same, except I moved up here when I turned 18. That was a bit over a year ago now. Well, happy belated birthday to you then, Axel. Thanks. Oh hey, I just noticed, what happened to your glasses, Ax? Oh, I wear contacts now. I kept breaking my glasses and it was getting super expensive to keep buying new ones. Same way you broke your phone, my dude? Yeah, usually. But hold on, weren't you, wearing a pair earlier? Yep, I have to take my contacts out when I go swimming. Oh, I get it. The contacts are a great look for you, dude. Thanks. As a little kid, he had these big glasses that were, way too big for his head. He looked like such a nerd. Weirdly enough, though, we never really became friends until later when he joined the swimming club. I was, a token insert on account of being a shark and all, but I wasn't really that into it. But then Axel joined and he wiped the floor with all of us. I couldn't just, stand by and be shown up by the nerdy kid. Started taking it seriously. I was never quite as good as he was, but I got pretty close. Hilariously enough, it was through trying to kick each other's asses that we kind of became friends in the first place. We started hanging out outside of class. Turns out we had heaps in common. We even collected cards from the same card game and would battle each other all the time. We never knew the rules properly, so we just sort of played our own version of it. My mom didn't like the cards so much because they had monsters and stuff on them, but Dad would slip me packs without her noticing. It's Pokemon. They were playing Pokemon. Either Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Could have been Magic the Gathering. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. No, it's destiny, Pokemon. You're my best friend. Ooh, yeah, whenever I'd stay the night, we used to play under the blankets with torches just in case she walked in and confiscated them. Interesting enough, that's exactly what ended up happening, right, Axe? Oh yeah, she did. She was going to toss them out, but Dad got them back for me. I don't know what would have been worse, what she caught us doing or what she thought she had caught us doing. Before she pulled the blanket off us, she was like, "Do I have to give you boys the talk?" Oh god. Oh god, I just thought of something. So, you know that one scene in SpongeBob? Where, SpongeBob is just, casually dying. He's, dying of, dehydration in Sandy's one thing, her dome, her treehouse. And, he's just, he looks raggedy as fuck, keep in mind. He's, raggedy as hell. And, he's just I don't need it. I don't need it. And Sandy's just, tempting him with the, pitcher of ice water. And he's I need it. I'm gonna play that. Here we go. Here we go. I found it. I found it. You know this. Hi, welcome to whatever this is, where half the time is spent reading and the other half is spent doing whatever the fuck, whatever that is. Yeah, that was... But yeah, after that, we just played at my house instead. My parents were pretty cool and even let us play at the dining table. It was old but gold. It's old but gold. It sounds as though the two of you have yeah! It sounds as though the two of you have plenty of fond memories. Yeah, we even got into exploring together. We'd go out looking for all these cool places and find all these interesting things. You still go exploring, Russ? It ain't as fun without you, my dude. It's been a little while. You should come with us. Me and Dom go out exploring all the time. Hey, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Count me in, dude. Just grabbing a stick. A skewer. Is there going to be a dead body? We need a stick. Everyone grab a stick or something. I don't know. Or a skewer or something. Something that allows you to poke dead bodies with. Yay! Axel and Russell shared matching toothy grins as our party progressed slowly through the forest. In every direction, there was only forest as far as the eye could see. I had no expectation that we'd reach our destination anytime soon. So anyway, other than that, Axe and I went through high school and graduated together, and then Axe moved up here. We fell out of touch for a while. Until today, of course. Say, Axe, do you visit your parents back home often? Yep, all the time. I was thinking of spending a night there soon, actually. Great. How are they? Same as usual. When I moved to Woodcrest, Dad finally convinced Mom to get a phone so we could stay in touch. She really hated it at first, but now she's obsessed with this game she found. It's Candy Crush. I'm telling you, it's Candy Crush. She keeps telling me what level she's up to. I think Dad has some regrets. Is this Axel's mom? Where she's just like... That fucking ad.
It was just take. So, I moved to SoFi Checking and Savings. Download the SoFi app and earn up to $300 when you set up direct deposit.
Exactly. I'm holding a skewer right now. Here we go. Here we go. This is it. This is it. This is what I was looking for. Fuck. Hang on. Let me just...
Hooray! I just reached level 9874113 in Mouse Quest.
I swear to God, that's Axel's mom. Like, we don't even know her, and yet I swear that's what she does. She's like, yay! I'm on this very high level in this mobile game. My goodness, your parents sound like quite the pair of characters. They're like twice as intense as you can imagine, my dude. But you never left Axel's house with some kind of story to tell. Anyway, Axe, how did you meet Dom? You two seem like a great fit. Dom is amazing. He's so smart and could do all this cool stuff. He comes exploring with me heaps, and we've even found a house to move into together. Aw, that's so cute, Axe. I knew you'd find yourself a wonderful boyfriend. Huh? Boyfriend? Oh, we aren't... I could have sworn. Sorry, Axe. Think I, misread the room a bit. Oh, it's okay. Please don't be sad. You're just friends, then? Yep, I think. I see. Well, he seems like a really good friend. The atmosphere among our group suddenly grew a little tense. Dom had asked me to keep an eye out, and I knew for a fact that Axel liked him. He had told me this himself. Yet, with what he just said, I was overcome with a sense of doubt. But why? Was Axel simply playing it cool, or maybe just maybe my assumption had been wrong? Was it possible that Axel had feelings for Russell once, and that his arrival here in Woodcrest may have reawakened them? Anyway, moving right along from that, what's the deal with you two? Aiden and I? Yeah. Well, I suppose you could say we were seeing one another. It is early days yet, mind. You could say that we are still in the process of finding our footing. Congratulations, you dudes make like a totally handsome couple. Thanks. Indeed, thank you. Aiden is quite the catch, is he not? Not as much of a catch as you are. Remember, I will fight you on this if that's what it takes. But please don't hurt each other. It's okay, Axe. They're just, joking around. Nobody's going to get hurt today. Oh, good. I was so worried. Do you guys mind me asking, how you met? Well, I just moved here myself, actually. My best friend Diego has lived here for a while now. I guess we sorta reunited like you and Axe would have. Oh, the dude who kept making dirty jokes, right? That certainly sounds like our Diego. Yeah, tell me about it. Anyway, he's been working for Ty for a while now, and he sort of made the introduction to help me find work. Before you know it, I was enthralled by his charming personality and addicted to the sight of his flawless pecs. He ticked every box, I guess. It was a little strange at first, being so much younger than he is. I wasn't sure if I was even on his radar, but one night I mustered up the courage and tried my moves. And what magnificent moves they were! What else could I have done but be completely captivated by his majesty? I burst into laughter. Ty was laying it on more than a little thick. My moves were awkward and hopeless, and you know it. I was just lucky that my interest in you was mutual. You sell yourself far too short, my dear, but yes, I too find myself simply captivated and more than a little intrigued. I simply could not pass up such a wonderful opportunity. Since then, we have been finding our groove, so to speak, but I feel absolutely confident in my decision. Aiden is the right person at the right time, and I am so very, very fortunate that we have found each other. Aw, you guys are so cute. You two dudes sure seem like a surefire hit to me. You'll make, like, a super amazing couple. I am most pleased our relationship has your confidence. Yeah. I looked up at Ty, smiling happily, and he gazed back, a satisfied and loving look in his eyes. I couldn't get over how lucky I was. He was so refined and charismatic, so loving and attentive, so sweet and flirtatious. His eyes, such a gorgeous shade of violet. And the way his stripes accented every muscle in his body, almost like priceless artwork. His every muscle chiseled to perfection, his glutes so flawlessly round and firm. I did not want to read that. Is something amiss, my dear? Your eyes seem to have gone slightly crooked. Oh! I had gotten carried away in my own little world. It was a good thing Ty stepped in when he...
Self-voicing enabled. I had gotten carried away in my own little world. It was a good thing Ty stepped in when he had, as I could feel the beginnings of an erection forming in my pants, something that would have been so incredibly mortifying if Russell or Axel had spotted it.
Sorry, I was just lost in thought. Anything else you guys want to know? Yeah, actually, you said, like, you only moved here recently yourself, right, dude? So before you arrived here, where were you living exactly? Cydonia City. Wow, really? Woodcrest must seem like the total boonies by comparison. It's smaller, sure, but honestly, I find it better in every conceivable way. Whoa, dude, for a small-town kid like me, somewhere like Cydonia seems like, I don't know, the place to be, I guess. What's so bad about it? Where do I even start? It's impossible to get anywhere with the traffic how it is, and you can forget about public transportation. It's even worse. The quality of housing there is really dire, and it costs so much. I moved to Cydonia when I got accepted to university there. It was one of the best ranked in the country, so I figured it'd be a surefire hit. I guess it wasn't so bad. I met Diego there, wound up dorming with him for 2 years until he graduated and moved over here. I graduated a year later and accepted an internship for a software company. They paid me peanuts while hovering the promise of a better pay rate and a promotion in front of my nose, like some kind of sadistic carrot on a stick while the boss screamed at us over every little thing. I was part of a group of new graduates, all interns just like me. In the end, I was the only one that hadn't walked, and that meant I got the ire intended for everyone else. And then I'd go home to this filthy, leaky apartment and borrow money intended for bills just so I could afford to eat. It all got too much by the end. In a move of desperation, I called Diego, asked if he had a couch I could crash on for a bit. Turned out he had a whole spare room, and I was welcome for as long as I liked. So I quit, no notice, sold my things, got the hell out. I woke up that morning in that leaky, miserable apartment and fell asleep bundled up in Diego's warm bed sheets. So far, it's the best decision I've made in years. After all, if I hadn't, I'd have never met the world's most handsome tiger. I nudged Ty cheekily between the ribs, and he responded by grinning from ear to ear. A grin so infectious that it spread to each and every one of us. As he smiled, I couldn't help being in awe of just how incredibly handsome he was. And just how lucky I was to be with someone so unbelievably sexy. So, I shook the thoughts from my head, not allowing myself to fall into the same trap once more. We had only done it the once, and yet Ty had succeeded in being the very best I'd ever had by a considerable distance. While taking things slowly was without doubt a smart decision, I couldn't help but wonder when our next encounter would be. Sounds like you really lucked out, Aiden. That's such a cool story, and what a happy ending. If I'm honest, I was having some doubts that coming here was going to be the right move, but hearing your story and having Axe here with me, I really think I'm going to be totally happy here too. Yay, and we can all be friends and hang out together. We're going to have so much fun. Indeed. So Russell, now that you're living in Woodcrest, what are your plans going forward? Any aspirations? I don't know yet, my dude. I was living with my parents back home and working part-time at a liquor store. Not not exactly my true, like, calling, my dudes. I didn't pay rent, so I managed to save up a bit before coming here. So I guess I'm, like, biding my time or something like that, enjoying a vacation. I even signed up for a bunch of different events and competitions to, like, keep me on my toes. Next up is the combat tournament heats on Friday. Oh, you are participating in the tournament? How wonderful! I took part myself last year, as did Diego now that I think about it. Nice, with huge guns like his, I bet you totally smashed it, right, dude? I got as far as the semifinals. Alas, I found myself pitted against the very man that went on to win. Oh, dude, that's like super rotten luck, man. Indeed, sometimes, though, that is just how things go. I am, however, most confident that your luck will be better than mine. I sure hope you're right, man. Say, ever heard of a fighter called Logan? Ice Bear 2.0. Ice Bear 2.0. Apologies, but I cannot say I'm familiar. Well, that's whose ass I gotta kick if I want to make the quarterfinals. I guess all I can do is, like, cross my fingers, right, dude? Does he have fingers? He has fingers. Russell has fingers. Indeed, and I'm sure I speak for the three of us when I say ours will be crossed for you as well. Rad, thanks, dudes. I can only hope to win, but, like, if I lose, that ain't the end of the world. I'm doing it for fun, after all. Most respectable attitude, although I do hope you will not become complacent. No way, it's only fun if I'm, like, totally giving it my all. Where's the joy in not challenging yourself? I'm glad you think so. I'm of a similar disposition, and that was part of my reason for taking part last year. Is either you or Diego taking part this year? No, neither of us are. I'd planned to, but, well, I get you, my dude. Life comes first, right? Indeed. Oh, please watch your footing here. It would seem the pathway is in a poor state of repair. I would not wish for any of you to fall into the river below. Now that I had pointed it out, I was conscious of the sound of running water close by. Looking ahead, much of the path had disintegrated and crumbled into the river below. Allow me to go first. I wish to ensure the path is stable. I loathe there being any preventable injuries on our... Something seemed to have captured Ty's attention as the sentence trailed off and he began sniffing away at the air. I looked toward the others, who all seemed as confused as I was, thus I decided to inquire. What's wrong, Ty? Ty turned to the rest of us and recognized our shared look of confusion. With a dismissive smile, he addressed the topic at hand. It is nothing. A curious scent on the wind, I suppose. Ty turned back towards the damaged path and took point, shimmying sideways across the narrow ledge before safely reaching the other side. I went next, very nearly losing my balance on a particularly slippery piece of ground, but nonetheless crossing unscathed. Looks like we're up, Axe. You ain't gonna fall in like you always do, right? No, I'm much steadier than I used to be. I almost never fall down. That's great, dude. I'll take up the rear then. Time for you to, like, strut your stuff, little dude. Axel's gonna fall. Axel took a deep breath before gingerly advancing along the decrepit path. He grasped at whatever he could reach for balance as he slowly progressed along the narrow shelf. Things were going well, until a piece of the damaged pathway began to give way. Axel, I'd make it quick if I were you! Huh? Axel had barely opened his mouth when his foot came down directly on the collapsing section, causing the whole thing to spontaneously collapse beneath his weight. Aww. Having fished a soaking wet Axel from the creek, the four of us continued onward, Axel leaving a trail of water with every passing step. Not only was he completely drenched, but the contents of his pack, including his other clothes, were too. Russell seemed torn in the choice between his amusement or his empathy. It's just like old times, dude. I can't believe it. I'm, like, totally thrilled. I'm not. I know, I'm sorry, Axe. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just happy. And not because you're wet. I mean, I missed you, little dude. Aw, me too. I missed you too. How very sweet. It would seem our camping expedition has helped to facilitate a touching reunion between long-lost friends. At long last, it looked as though our journey had made some much-needed progress. Looking overhead stood one of the mountains that constituted the outer ring surrounding Woodcrest, and before us was a flight of stairs leading toward it. You know, Aiden, Russell and Axel have spoken at length about their childhood. I'm most curious as to when I can expect to learn more about your own. Mine? It's not really an exciting story. I'd still very much like to hear it. After all, we are dating, are we not? Ty's request seemed fair. After all, it was only natural to want to know about the person you're building a relationship with. I cleared my throat and began telling this tale of my life. Sure, well, my parents split before I was born. It was amicable, but they just couldn't agree on how to proceed. I've only met my dad a few times throughout my life, but he's a good man. I was raised by my mother solo. I was an only child, didn't have a heap of money, but she did everything she could to give me the happiest child possible, often to her own detriment. I grew up as a kid in Sidonia. When my grandpa died, Mom got something of an inheritance, so we moved away to Riverton on the west coast where that inheritance could afford a deposit on a house for us to live in. And after high school, that's when I moved to Sidonia, so I guess you already know the rest. When was the last time you saw your mom? She stayed with me for a few weeks not long after I finished uni. She could see I was struggling. She felt bad, but there wasn't anything she could do to help. We still chat now and then. She's doing okay. Riverton has been good to her, at least for the most part. Why'd you move here instead of back to Riverton? Riverton is small. Too small. It's a nice place, but it's not somewhere I could see myself having a future. Woodcrest, though, this place has a reputation as a place to be. You're right about that, dude. Somerville is kind of the same as Riverton by the sounds of things. I guess it's dying down there because all the young workers just come up here instead. And well, it's like I said, Diego is here too, and he had room for me, and I didn't really want to move back in with my mom, you know? Totally, dude. I getcha. What about your dad? What about him? When did you last see him, I mean? He was in Sidonia once during my last year of uni. He was only in town for a day, but he dropped by to say hello. It's kind of awkward without Mom there. We never really found our groove with one another, but I appreciated the effort on his part. I see. It must be hard growing up without a dad. No, not really, but I guess I never really knew what I was missing. It was harder for Mom, I think, raising a kid on one income. Yeah, I'm glad she's doing okay, and I'm glad you're doing okay too. Indeed, I share the very same sentiment, and I thank you for sharing, Aiden. Your tale is a lot more interesting. Again? Ty's pace slowed once again, sending the three of us into a pile up directly behind him. Not unlike before, he began sniffing at the air. Some interesting scent having piqued his curiosity. Well, why aren't we smelling it? We are a dog, right? Something on the wind again? Indeed. I can't smell anything, Russell. Dude, I'm a shark. But I thought, want to know if, like, someone peed in your pool or something? As much as I always hate you for asking, I'm your dude, but on land, I can barely smell, like, what's right in front of my face. Oh. Gotta admit, though, I'm curious, too. Aiden, any ideas? Nope, I didn't catch it either. Indeed, it has eluded me once more. I'm sorry to have wasted your time, gentlemen. Let us mosey on. Ty began walking once again as Axel, Russell, and I all rejoined formation in the wake. The steps we'd been climbing continued to stretch out into the distance with no end in sight as our group continued to press onward. Thinking about our conversations, I was conscious that I, like Axel and Russell before me, had told everyone about my upbringing, yet Ty had not extended that same courtesy. You know, Ty, it strikes me that, except for you, we've all talked at length about ourselves. Oh, my goodness, you're right. I apologize. Where are my manners? Is there something you would like to hear? Of course. Totally, man. I bet you got, like, some crazy stories to tell. Yep. You know all about us. It's only fair. You are right. Fair is fair. Well, then let me think. Ty quickly seemed enveloped by his thoughts, scratching his chin in sync with each step we climbed. His silence persisted for quite some time before I spoke up, hoping to regain his attention. Now look who's away with the fairies. Come on, Ty, we're all waiting for you to tell the story. Oh dear, I'm sorry, my mind was somewhere else. I feel compelled to warn you that this is no story for the faint of heart. I should hope none of you will find this upsetting, but nothing but to proceed. I suppose I'll begin telling you that I was raised by my maternal grandmother. I remember very little about my parents, but suffice to say they were not present. Axel's face fell, no doubt in recollection of his prior comment about growing up without a dad. Right away, it seemed as though Ty's childhood would be less of an upbeat story than those that followed. Much like you, Aiden, I was raised an only child by a single caregiver, and much like your mother, my gran did everything in her power to make up for what I was missing out on. She did a fantastic job. I owe so much of my success and happiness today to her. I'll never forget everything she did for me. Wow, dude, she seems like a super special lady. You are right, she was. She raised me as though I was her own, and she was also so very kind and selfless. I have such fond memories. There's this thing she used to say to me whenever I was hurt or sad, or even if I was scared. I had nightmares a lot as a child, you see, and I would wake up in hysterics. She would scoop me up out of bed and into her arms. She would sit there patiently, sometimes for hours, consoling me and trying to calm me down. And if all else failed, she did the most era-appropriate thing you can imagine and let me have a shot of her whiskey. Foul stuff. I remember it tasted of cinnamon and nutmeg. If I had not mellowed before, I certainly did after that. I often wonder if it was the alcohol or the shock of its foul taste. When I finally had, those were the moments she saved her precious phrase for. You're such a strong boy, and you should be so very proud of yourself. On my very first day of school, all of the kids just ignored me. They had their little groups and were off doing the things children do. I felt lonely, but almost as if it were fate, there was another child feeling the very same way. I did not notice him at first. He sat in the corner of the room alone, playing quietly with the fire truck toy. I watched as a group of boys would then approach and yank the toy from his grasp. They called him all these names, but one in particular stood out. Dirty Orphan. I knew what it was like not having parents, so I stepped in. Drove the boys back. I sat with the boy as tears streamed down his face. I told him that I had no parents too, and that I knew what that was like. I told him he had nothing to be ashamed of, and that I would not let those kids bother him anymore. I gave him the biggest hug, and after that, he looked at me with his big green eyes and bravely forced a shaky smile. That is when he introduced himself. Lucas. From that day forward, Lucas and I were inseparable. Woodcrest was much smaller in those days, so most year groups only had one class. You see, those children never forgot that I stepped in for Lucas. We spent our entire childhood with targets on our backs. Thankfully, the smaller classes also meant that we could look out for and protect one another. I spent each and every school day in his company, and most afternoons he would even come home with me, even sometimes staying the entire night. The orphanage was not a particularly happy place for him, so Gran did all she could to try and surround him with happiness. Whenever Gran would take me somewhere, Lucas would always come along with us as we set out to finding the most beautiful places in Woodcrest. But there was this one spot in particular all three of us loved the most. There's this place in the north of town, tucked deep within the forest and nestled away in the hills, which has the most beautiful view of Woodcrest you will ever see. It is so very quiet and peaceful there. The path that leads to it was near where we set off from earlier. The three of us spent so much time there, I have so many fond memories. Lucas was adopted when he was 9. We were both scared that his new parents would split us all up. Instead, they did everything they could to make him happy. They even paid Gran a little for her trouble. They were wonderful people. It took Lucas a long time, but eventually he would warm up to them, and so life carried on. That was until we began high school. I apologize. High school was a very difficult time for us, for me in particular. There are some bad memories that I do not wish to revisit. It's okay, my dude. You don't have to say anything you don't, want to. Yep. It began making sense why Ty hadn't offered to tell his own tale. I couldn't help but be curious about just what his high school years had entailed. But the last thing I wanted to do was cause him any discomfort or sour the overall mood. We understand. Just say what you were comfortable with. Well, you see, I fell out of contact with Gran and Lucas for a couple of years. I had said and done many regretful things, and I pushed them both away, even though all they wanted was to help. And so I found myself at rock bottom, enjoying the silence in that spot overlooking Woodcrest one evening, and Lucas found me. He brought cake with him. I had not even realized it was my 17th birthday. I was glad that he found me when he did. After that, I reconnected with them both, and just in the nick of time, because Gran did not have long left. I had not made those past few years easy on her. Thus, I spent those final months doing everything I could to make it up to her. And I remember, one of the last things she said to me, "You have become such a strong young man, and I am so very, very proud of you." It was a couple of days after she said those words that Lucas and I sat with her again, in that beautiful spot overlooking the town. We spoke to her for hours and hours. I told her all about my aspirations, all the things I wanted to do, and then we set her free. Scattering her ashes across that beautiful spot from there, she could watch over us both, watch as we tirelessly strive to continue making her proud. Wow, dude, that was, heart-wrenching, man. Why did she have to die? There, Axe. It's okay, little dude. I hesitated, taking the time to ensure my response was appropriate before speaking up. You sounded amazing, Ty. I'm glad you managed to patch things up before the end. Thank you for sharing with us. It was my pleasure, Aiden. And I hope that she would be proud of both Lucas and I. You know, that kind of makes Lucas and you like brothers or something. On the contrary, I believe our friendship defies definition. For example, I was a while shy of 18 when Gran passed. I was not a legal adult just yet, and would have likely wound up an orphan myself, not unlike Lucas had been one all those years before. But you see, he wouldn't allow me to go through that, and well, he was a little more than a year older than I was, so he... What, he's like your adoptive dad or something? Oh dear, please do not call him that. He was merely my legal guardian, on paper, until I was of age. See that? Ty just, cringed. Daddy Lucas. Please, stop saying that. The three of us broke into hysterical laughter at Ty's expense. Thankfully for us, our cheer would soon win him over, even going so far as to enjoy a few laughs himself. As we walked and laughed, we noticed the end of the long flight of stairs with the pathway curling around the side of the mountain. It would seem our timing is impeccable. Our campsite is only mere minutes away. I was incredibly relieved to hear that. The straps of my pack have been cutting into my ribs for the past 2 hours, and my feet were killing me. With newfound motivation, the 4 of us picked up our pace, reaching the top of the stairs and following the path around until... We're going to leave off here tonight. God damn it, Ty. That was a beautiful story. Let me put the stick down. Hold up. I just had the greatest idea. Okay, so I'm just going to steal this image real quick. Don't mind me, I'm just casually committing image theft. And just hear me out. Hang on. Let me hide the let me hide Linhu real quick. And just hear me out. Okay, so this is going to be the one time where Ty is allowed, not Ty, Lucas is allowed to smile. Okay, so stolen from Pinterest. Sileo game, sprites, Lucas, faces. Anyways, I can't think of much to say, so other than this is the greatest thing ever. So stay safe, have a good night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.